Okay, good morning. All right, once again, I'm Pamela Hayes. I'm one of the small business specialists in the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization here at HUD, and I have the pleasure of being your mistress of ceremony this morning. I want to thank you all for coming out on this extremely cold morning here for OSDBU's first event of fiscal year 2018. We have a full agenda, so I'm going to introduce our first speaker, which is OSDBU's fearless leader, Ms. Deena Powell. On July 2017, Ms. Powell was appointed as the Director for the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization here at HUD. She has over 25 years of federal and operations experience. Previously, she served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Business Management and Administration, Chief Management Officer in HUD's Office of the Chief Human Capital Officer, and the General Deputy Assistant Secretary for HUD's Office of Policy Development and Research. She is an Excellence in Government Senior Fellow and a recipient of the Presidential Rank Award. She is also a certified executive and leadership coach. Please welcome Ms. Deena Powell.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to HUD. I want to thank Mashoma for that very kind introduction. As Mashoma mentioned, I'm new to this position, but I'm very excited to serve in this role. During my short tenure, I have been speaking with a lot of business owners, and I have to say one of the most frequently asked questions has to do with access. I mean, business owners like yourself ask me, Jean, how can I navigate HUD? It's such a huge bureaucracy. And who are the right people that I should be meeting? So this event, HUD IT Industry Day, is going to be one in a series of outreach events. And the intention really is to help you make the connections. And we have a great lineup today with regard to our senior leaders. Of course, we have our Deputy Secretary here this morning, as well as our Chief Information Officer, Johnson Joy. He's my partner in this IT event. And of course, we have our Chief Procurement Officer, Keith Serber, here with us, as well as our new partners. We have our Office of Inspector General, and we also have our Government and National Mortgage Association, Barbara Cooper-Jones. She's our Senior VP. And the purpose of the first part of the program is really to give you high-level strategic outlook in terms of the department's IT enterprise solutions. And then later, we will break out into business roundtables where you will be able to speak with our program experts, IT professionals, as well as our procurement experts. And so I call them the triumvirate, because I think this cross-program collaboration really will give you a full picture of how the department provides federal contracting opportunities, particularly in the area of IT. So I want to thank all of my program counterparts, and I also want to thank my staff. We are a small but mighty staff. You've met Mashoma Hayes, and also Derek Pruitt. You've seen his name because he's our go-to person when it comes to outreach events. And Derek, are you in the room? Okay, you'll meet him shortly. And also want to thank Crystal Sauls, our administrative support. So without further ado, I want to introduce our Deputy Secretary, Ms. Pamela H Patenaude. And she was nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate as HUD's Deputy Secretary on September 14th, 2017. Now, Deputy Secretary Patenaude, she brings over 30 years of housing experience. And this is her 4th tour of duty at the department. So you can imagine how dedicated she is to the mission of HUD. Prior to joining HUD, she served as the president of the J. Ronald Terwilliger Foundation for Housing America's Families. And prior to her position, she also was the director of the Housing Policy for Bipartisan Policy Center, where she led a 21-person commission to present a new direction for national housing policy. And prior to that, she was the executive vice president for the Urban Land Institute. Now, early in her career, she was here at the department. She served as the Assistant Secretary for Community Planning and Development, where she administered more than $8 billion in housing and community development funds. She also played a significant role in the rebuilding of New Orleans after Katrina. And I had the special honor of working with Deputy Secretary Patenaude when she served as the Assistant Deputy Secretary for Field Policy and Management. And from then on, she has been a true role model and mentor to me. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Jean, for that warm introduction. It's my pleasure to welcome you all here today on behalf of Secretary Ben Carson. From the sounds of it, this sounds like HUD's IT Industry Day, but it's also speed dating. So I wish you all much success with your speed dating after the program gets started. I'd just like to get an idea of who's in the audience. This looks like an impressive group, but how many of you in the audience are women-owned small businesses? Wow, that's terrific. How many are Hubzone? Great. And how many are veteran-owned businesses? And how about small and disadvantaged businesses, or 8A? Terrific. So we have a wonderful representation. So thank you very much. As I said, this is definitely about matchmaking today, and I think it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for our team here. And I'm just delighted with this all-star team. As Jean mentioned, she was my deputy during a previous tour of duty. And I'm also just thrilled to be working with our new CIO, who you will meet momentarily. But Johnson Joy is a superstar, and the Secretary was very fortunate to recruit him here to the department. And I've also had the pleasure to work with Keith, and I'm also very impressed with Keith and his procurement team. So a few statistics I'd like to share with you, just to give you a starting point on where we have been with in terms of HUD awarding contracts. Last year, HUD awarded over $739 million in contracts to over 188 small businesses. HUD exceeded its small business goal by nearly 10%, with over 48% of HUD contracts awarded to small businesses. In just IT contracts alone, HUD awarded $88.6 million in contracts this past year. And I'm also delighted to share with you that SBA graded HUD with an A+, so I need your help here. We need to keep that A+, because there's only one way to go, and that's down, and the Secretary said that's not acceptable. So I'm very, very hopeful that this will be a very productive session, that there'll be wonderful opportunities and an opportunity to create partnerships here today. So thank you for joining us, and I look forward to hearing about the success soon. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, Deputy Secretary Patenaude, and thank you for coming out for our event. So that is a wonderful example of the type of dedicated leadership we have here at HUD. So with that, I'm going to move on with the agenda. HUD OSDBU, I don't know everyone's experience with other agency, but we have a very unique and strong partnership with the Office of the Chief Procurement Officer, which is led by Keith Serber. Prior to July 2016, Mr. Serber served as HUD's acting Chief Procurement Officer, and prior to that, he was the Deputy Chief Procurement Officer, to which he was appointed in June of 2010. Mr. Serber has over 35 years of acquisition experience, which includes the Director of OCPO's Western Field Contracting Operations in Denver and the Director of the Regional Contracting Division for HUD's Fort Worth Regional Office. Mr. Serber was an officer in the United States Air Force from, do you want me to give the years? 1979 to 1992, serving in various contracting and leadership positions. Mr. Serber has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Oregon State University and received his MBA from Troy University. Please welcome Mr. Keith Serber, HUD's Chief Procurement Officer.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to have to do something about that bio because it might be longer than how much time I'm actually going to be talking to you. But first of all, again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. You know, when we planned all this, we said, why don't we have it on the coldest day of the year and see how many people actually show up. So I'm really happy to see that we have a full room here. I was afraid that the cold might discourage some of you from attending, but clearly, you know, the thought of possibly getting contracts actually overcame that cold. So appreciate it. So there's three things that I really wanted to talk with you about this morning. One of those is, you know, Deputy Secretary Patenaude talked about our statistics earlier about how well we've done with our small business program. You know, HUD has achieved most of our small business goals quite successfully over the past several years, and has continually received A ratings in our small business program. We have a very high goal set by the SBA for us, one of the highest in the federal government. I don't know if we're second or third highest, something like that. But we continually achieve those goals, and so we're very proud of that. The ones that we have not been quite as successful on, despite our best efforts, are our Hubzone accomplishments. And then, you know, the service disabled vet goals, it's kind of like sometimes we make it, sometimes we don't. It's usually pretty close. So we've really been focused on trying to meet those goals as well, too. I was glad to see when the Deputy Secretary asked about the participation that we have here, that we had a lot of Hubzone contractors and also service disabled vets, as well as the other areas, too. We never seem to have a problem meeting our women-owned small business goals and our small disadvantaged business goals. So we want to really focus on trying to meet those other goals as well, too. To that end, one of the policies that I have put in place, particularly for IT, is that we will search hub zones first in order to try to make that goal. We implemented that policy last year, and we really want to focus on trying to meet the hub zone goals. I think that goes right in along the lines with the current administration, with the Secretary's goals to support the areas in which Hubzone contractors, you know, they reside and where they're located at, and so it really goes hand in hand with the goals of the current administration as well. So that's the first main point I want to talk about is, you know, that we are focusing on all of our small business programs, but we are focusing on hub zones first in terms of specifically for IT. And so for all you Hubzone contractors out there, there may be a light at the end of that tunnel after all. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was, well, there's two additional things that I want to talk about. The second one was the use of best-in-class contracts. I think most of you hopefully are probably aware of that initiative already by OMB. So if you're not aware of what best-in-class is, that's where some federal agencies have put out very large contracts, and that they're open up to the entire federal government to use. OMB has been identifying some of these vehicles that they call best-in-class, or BICs. And they have been pushing the agencies to utilize these best-in-class groups. So, for example, especially in terms of IT, GSA Schedule 70, some of the other GWACs, the government-wide acquisition contracts, NASA SOUP, CIO SP3. Hopefully you all are aware of those already. So the agencies are being tracked and graded on how well we're using the best-in-class vehicles. So there's an upside to that, obviously, but there's also a downside. The upside is that they're driving price reductions in the continuing era of budgets, you know, slim budgets. We're continuing to try to find ways to reduce costs, and the best-in-class vehicles drive those costs down. A good example of that is when we just recently, at the end of last fiscal year, we used the NASA SOUP to replace all of our laptops and monitors for the entire department. And we did that at significant savings over what we could have gotten using other vehicles. So that's the upside. The downside is best in class means fewer contractors are getting contracts, and especially in the small business arena. And that's always a concern for us. We do still have the opportunity to utilize the set-aside process in the best in class, and that's still part of my policy. Whenever possible, we will still utilize the FAR Part 19 set-aside priorities, even using the best in class, or even not best in class, but just any kind of GSA schedule. So that's my policy on all of our contracts, that we will still try to follow the FAR Part 19 set-aside priorities in every procurement that we do. But the reality is that there's fewer opportunities for a lot of small businesses. So if there's one thing I could suggest that you do, if you haven't already, is make sure that you get hold of those agencies that are having those best-in-class contracts, and see if there are opportunities to ramp on. Many times they'll open windows and offer opportunities for new vendors to ramp on. Also, as others graduate, if they may be small, and they've graduated, then if they're small business set-aside type programs, they may have to ramp off. So there may be some opportunities there. But so I would encourage you to contact those agencies that do those, that have those GWACs, and see if you have some chances there, because that's fortunately and unfortunately, it's the two-sided coin. That's the direction that the government is going into. So the third thing I wanted to talk about has really come about in the last year, and that's about ethics in contracting. I've had too many conversations with the IG this year, with our IG, but also almost every week I see at least one article where somebody's been indicted or somebody's been convicted, whether it's a government person or a contractor, for ethics violations. Kickbacks, bribes, things like that. And we're taking steps to try to make sure that doesn't happen in our agency. We're going to do more. I'm working on a method to have more transparency in our procurements before they become problems. But I just want to encourage you to make sure that, it's obviously we're all chasing that dollar, right? But be sure not to cross the line, because it does happen. 99% of all the people we work with are very ethical and have high integrity, but it's always that 1% that drag everybody down and give us all a bad reputation. So, and in case you don't know it, there's actually we're governed by the Federal Acquisition Regulation. There's actually a FAR requirement that any contractor that has over $5.5 million in a contract must have an ethics program in place. If you don't have one, you might refer to FAR 3.1, which is titled Contractor Code of Business Ethics and Conduct, and make sure that you have a good program in place to support your ethics program. So that's really, those are the main things I wanted to talk with you about and give you some information about. What I really had planned is, those daytime shows where at the end of it, everybody reaches under their seat and grabs, they get an award or something like that. I was going to give you all a contract. But as you know, we're all under a continuing resolution and we have no money. So sorry, I can't give you all a contract today. But hopefully sometime in the near future, we'll be doing business with all of you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Keith. Keith is so funny. I think he's a nighttime comedian on the weekends, baby. So the Office of the Chief Information Officer, we as an agency have, you as a small business actually have the privilege of having a Chief Information Officer who really can, I think, understand some of the trials that you're going through. Johnson Joy leads the Office of the Chief Information Officer for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, with the mission to modernize HUD's information technology to become a model for other federal agencies. In June 2017, Johnson was appointed as the Chief Information Officer and serves under Secretary Benjamin Carson. Before joining HUD, Johnson was the founder and Chief Executive Officer of Houston-based information technology consulting company, J3 Global Incorporated. Bringing more than 2 decades of IT experience to HUD, Johnson previously served as a program manager for Independence Blue Cross and Cigna. Johnson's executive management experience includes implementing major system improvements for small and large organizations and helping organizations adapt to the rapidly changing and dynamic IT environment. Johnson earned his Master's of Information Systems from Stevens Institute of Technology, as well as a Bachelor's of Science and Master's of Physics from Mahatma Gandhi University in Kerala, South India. Okay, I practiced, but it did not work. When this happily married father is not immersed in the IT world, he enjoys spending time with his family and supporting the mission works of various charitable organizations, both here in the United States and abroad. Please welcome Mr. Johnson Joy.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to be speaking to all of you this morning because a small business owner is the true backbone of our country. And it's great to see you all today here. And also, I would like to thank Jean, the Director of the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, and her team for coordinating this event. The way you arranged the whole thing, it is wonderful. Thank you. Based on my prior experience as a business owner, I understand the concerns that all of you have and the industry in general, to do business with the government. I know it's not easy, but short months ago, like 5 months ago, I was appointed here as the CIO. And when I was working for my company, I knew what it takes to keep the lights on and also uphold my responsibilities to the communities and my customers and employees and my family. Now I have the honor to serve the country through the federal government. And I'm also blessed to be working for Secretary Carson and Deputy Secretary Pam Patenaude with the mission that HUD provides to the American people. It's all about being good stewards of the taxpayer money, and that's all the things that I'll be doing here at the department will be based on that. And also, I want to encourage you all that when we are transparent and truthful, we can get things done. And also, make sure that you don't waste time in doing presentations, 65-page presentations. Keep things simple. Just understand what the government needs, and if you can provide that in a simple way, simple fashion, you will succeed. And also, I would like to share some insights on how you can participate and contribute to HUD's IT initiatives. First of all, my vision for HUD information technology is to modernize the IT systems and make it as a model for other federal agencies. I know it's not an easy task, but with the help of my awesome team that I have, my senior managers and my staff are doing an awesome job to make it happen. And they are the foundation of this technology innovation and modernization we are working on. So when I assumed the office of CIO, I immediately established 3 goals to execute my vision. So I just want to share that with you. Goal number 1 is enhance service delivery. Goal number 2 is to create repeatable processes and streamline and improve through performance and innovation. And goal number 3 is strengthen customer collaboration to deliver customer-focused outcomes. So what I did is when I first came in, it's like a doctor, right? So when you come to see what is wrong with the patient, you actually need to do some tests before you prescribe the medication. So that's what I did. I analyzed our department and see what we can do to improve and be in the roadmap of the future of technology and where the government is going. So my office is pursuing to consolidate IT delivery functions and also enable a sustainable and enduring pathway for the future of HUD IT initiatives. Now I want to share with you my key areas of interest. My number one goal is to immediately improve government-mandated compliance and adherence. That's the key. In order for the government to function properly, we need to make sure that we are compliant with VITARA, FISMA, Data Act, the Presidential Executive Order on Cybersecurity, and also introduce technology and process best practices that can assist the department eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse. And that's a big thing for me. Like I was mentioning before, this is all about serving the people of our country. So we need to make sure we are good stewards of the money they have entrusted us with. The second area of my interest is accelerate modernization and cybersecurity posture for HUD. We can keep saying that we are modernizing IT. That's a common word nowadays. Oh, we are modernizing IT. But my goal is talk less and do what needs to be done to make it happen. So one of the things is transition all applicable legacy systems to our cloud environment. And also the data center consolidation is in process. And also evaluating all our cybersecurity best practices, because I want our department to be on the offensive when it comes to cybersecurity. We at HUD are committed to fostering a small business-friendly culture, and we know the critical mission at HUD requires some close collaboration with you all. I just want to give you an example of how we have done this in the last few months. In order to support Secretary Carson's vision of the Envision Centers, we developed a virtual mobile app in like 4 weeks when companies told us it's going to take a year to do it. So I'm so proud of my team and the people that worked with my team to make it happen. So basically, we are empowering the low to moderate income housing people in those houses to have technology at their fingertips on the phone, because that's going to be the future. The mobile apps, websites are going to go away soon, so that's why we took the leap and to be leading in that effort. Overall, as we continue to move forward with the mission to transform IT, I recommend you, as small business leaders, continue to engage with HUD's Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization and our Chief Procurement Office. Please continue your education about HUD's needs and requirements. Like I was telling you before, that's the key. You need to make sure that what we need and come up with solutions that fits our needs, instead of wasting time on strategy documents and 65-page documents, because that's not going to get you anywhere. So we together as a team can strengthen the small business community at large. And right now, I just want to thank you for your time and have a great time with the rest of the events that's happening here. Thank you.
Okay. Now, to the man who needs no introduction, and I've already run this by him, and he isn't getting an introduction because he did not provide me his bio. I have asked multiple times. So, Essex Martin.
Good day to everybody. How are y'all? A little bit about myself. I can tell you that I am also retired Air Force. I can tell you Keith got out of active duty in 1992, so did I. I can tell you that Keith and I, birthday is, I think, 7 days apart from each other. Several years. I'm younger. I can tell you that during my last tour here at HUD, I worked in the procurement office. This tour, I have the pleasure of working in OCIO, working for Mr. Joy. So I have the insight on both sides of the house. Some of y'all who may know me know that I also have commercial background. I was Booz Allen and consulting with the Navy and other places, so I have that diversity as well. So I look forward to trying to help this event to be a wonderful event. As my leadership has said, we have tables in the back where we're going to be matchmaking. We have personnel from my staff, from PIH, from housing, from many of the different offices, because as they said, we're one HUD. We want to bring all of that to you and provide information so you can provide good services to us. So you don't have to be spending all your BNP money trying to send around things like that, but spend time on developing your RFPs and getting your proposals and getting things into us. So let's begin. Give you a little bit about our requirement. So y'all have seen our forecast, but you may have not noticed this time around, but I hope you do take away. You will see that in our forecast, we talk about recompetes, and we also give you the contract number. So hopefully you have actually gone into FPDS&G, looked up who those vendors are, looked up when the contract was awarded, looked up, seen how much the total dollar value is. Thank you. My voice is going away, so. Look at what the total dollar value is. You'll also be able to use that information to see why we say first quarter, second quarter. We're trying to also make sure that this time around that we award contracts anywhere from 2 months to 4 months before the current option period ends, so that we can do transitions to include pivoting, and I'm sure many of you have experienced that at other agencies. It's not a very fast process as well. So we're trying to accommodate and make sure those transitional things occur. You also will have the ability, when you look up these contracts, if you see we say something is first quarter, and you see where you go into FPS&G and you see a mod was done to extend it, it's not because we don't want to have the competition, it's because the package may have got delayed or other things like that. But I will tell you this, everything that's up here will be competed. Even if we have to do an extension to get the package together to put that requirement out, everything will get competed. As was said earlier by the Deputy Secretary, last year we did approximately $80 million in small business within CIO. If you add up all of these, you go into FPS&G, you will see that it's going to be around about $80 million as well for this year, okay? It's not as many requirements this year. It's 24 total, about 5 brand new requirements. The rest are recompete. Previous years was in the 30s. But that's also because we've been doing some consolidations as well. Trying to ensure that we are being very good stewards of the government money. This first page, you're going to see a lot of the requirements are in the office of PIH. So wherever you see Yvette Connors and Kevin Jones, they're from the PIH organization, and their table is going to be there. Some of the other requirements is on this page is housing personnel. As far as the contracting officer reps that works for me, it's Michelle Butler and Marcia Parks, and housing has 2 tables in the back as well. And then the rest of us are spread out, so we'll be able to facilitate and have some matchmaking there and try to give you as much information as possible. Next page is basically saying a lot of the requirements is in our OCIO organization as well, when it relates to our Chief Technology Office, when it relates to our infrastructure. Those are actually ran by us because they're looked at as enterprise. So you'll see people named like Leroy McKinley Jr. as well as Pam Kaiser, and the infrastructure table is over here. You're going to also have the luxury and the pleasure of having actual procurement personnel at these tables as well, for 2 reasons. One, they can see and hear and speak with y'all. Y'all can get a name and a face to go along with them. And 2, to help keep us from going beyond where we need to go in early exchange and prevent you guys from participating in future events or participating in the proposals. So they're going to help to keep all of us honest, because we want to make sure everybody have a fair opportunity. That is really, really, really important to HUD. Okay? Then again, there's a total of 4 pages. Here are some of the other ones. The ones that has my name on it, I have some staff that I'm transitioning requirements from myself to some of my other staff. I believe Gabby is here. So the office that deals with the table that says admin, public affairs, things like that is back there. I also have a document that has my organization and has all the names of who support what business office, what business sponsored that OCIO supports, because OCIO supports all the business offices, 18 of 19 at HUD. And then there's some more requirements. You'll see, I will say, and Keith mentioned it and others as well, the best in class. I know I have received emails from people on some of the requirements up here. You're going to recognize, especially when it comes to the large items such as the networks transport, that there is a best in class vehicle. It's called networks. So that is going to go that way. It is not that I don't want it to go that way. There's OMB mandates, there's other requirements. It's been used before, it's been very effective. Same thing when it came to the computers. HUD decision to no longer have our laptops and desktops to be procured up under the end user contract, but to go out and buy our own. Major $1 million was saved. Major $1 million was put back to the agency. Major $1 million is allowing us to do some of this modernization that we want to do and try to do, knowing that we have a small pie of money that we're getting through the CR budget process. But we are making sure that we're being, as much as possible, good stewards of the taxpayers' money. Your money, my money. Okay? Thank you, welcome, and I turn it over.
Okay, we have a slight change to the agenda. Unfortunately, Mr. Chris Weber, the HUD's OIG Chief Information Officer and Deputy Assistant Inspector General for Information Technology, excuse me, is unable to attend, but he has left us in very capable hands. Gene Lee is the Director of Contracts and Procurement of HUD OIG, where he oversees $10 million of internal acquisitions. He previously served at GSA Federal Supply Schedule, Federal Acquisition Service, and headquarter operations, where he oversaw $17 billion in government-wide acquisition vehicles, from the city pair and lodging programs to the IT Schedule 70 program. In his spare time, he tries to give back to the community through youth sports and community service. Today, he'll be providing a high-level overview of HUD OIG's priorities, IT vision, and the upcoming FY18 HUD OIG procurement. Mr. Gene Lee.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I wanted to thank the Office of Small Business, Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization Office for this wonderful partnership, and the Office of Inspector General is very thrilled to be here. This is our first time we've partnered with this office, but the HUD OIG firmly believes in small businesses. As everybody before us was speaking, you are the backbone of our economy, so HUD OIG strongly believes in that, and we are part of the numbers that are rolled up with the annual small business achievements, so HUD OIG fully supports that. Our Chief Information Officer and Deputy Assistant Inspector General for Information Technology apologizes for not being able to make it, but he did pass on to me the priorities that he wanted to pass on to the small business community. So for 2018, the Chief Information Officer within HUD OIG has basically 4 focuses. He wants to be able to focus on building a more robust e-discovery capability, which speaks to legal and investigative documentation and optical text recognition and more, if you will, legal proceeding support documentation. He also wants to support the HUD OIG's infrastructure moving towards the cloud. In regards to that encompasses both Microsoft 360, 365 Suite, and so on. He also wants to focus more on improved data governance and policy, which also includes improving our records retention policy, automatic archiving, and such as that. So those are his 4 priorities he wanted to pass on to me. And then after that, I believe in part of your package, you have our annual advanced strategic acquisition plan, which is also going to be published on the website very, very shortly. So this, as Esther was speaking to, follows the same format. We have, whether it's a new or recurring need that will be coming up in FY18, we have a very, very brief description of what that entails. We have the contract number, which is what the existing contract number is right now. We have the total estimated lifecycle cost, which will include the base and all option years. We have whether it's been a sole source or whatever the existing contract vehicle has been. We have whether there was a vehicle that was in place, if you will, whether we used a GSA, whether we used an IAA, which those are not familiar, it stands for interagency agreement. And then we have the current point of contacts. And at our table, which is in the back side of the, I'm sorry, my left, which would be your right. And we have various, my contracting staff and also from of our cores, our contracting officer representatives from our CIO shop are here to answer any of the questions that you may have. I must ask for your forgiveness up front, by the way. So we do have an office function that must has us all of the HUD IT staff leave at 11:30. We apologize for that, but hopefully you can make the best usage of your time. And our contact information is listed on the listing as well. So hopefully you can have ample time to coordinate with us and educate us on what you have to offer. And we have 2 pages. Unlike Essex 4 pages, we have you a more condensed version. And that's it. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. 3.
E-discovery, move to cloud, and improve governance.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. So my 4th priority is actually embedded in data governance, which is include records retention policy. Thank you for the question.
Okay, and our final speaker is probably one of the areas that most people don't realize is a part of HUD. And it's always like, Ginnie Mae, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Like, no, Ginnie Mae is a part of HUD. Barbara Cooper Jones is the Senior Vice President, Enterprise Data and Technology Solutions at the Government National Mortgage Association, also referred to as Ginnie Mae. Ms. Cooper Jones is responsible for defining and implementing enterprise information in mortgage loans, MBS technology solutions, project governance, and ensuring infrastructure and technology directives align with Ginnie Mae's cybersecurity and compliance initiatives. Prior to joining Ginnie Mae, Ms. Cooper Jones was the Assistant Vice President of Enterprise Program Management in National IT at the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, where she led large-scale program technology infrastructure modernization efforts. Ms. Cooper Jones serves as Vice President of Enterprise Data Technology at Fannie Mae from 2004 to 2007, and was responsible for leading long-range strategic planning and day-to-day activities for the corporation's single and multifamily enterprise data initiatives in support of financial reporting, regulatory reporting, and research and analytics. Ms. Cooper Jones has a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting from Virginia State University. She has also completed a host of leadership development programs and has served as both a formal and informal mentor in all organizations where she's worked. Please welcome Ms. Barbara Cooper Jones.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. I just want to start with a short story. About a year and a half ago, maybe close to 2 years, we had 2 small business organizations that were working on a body of work for us, 2 different bodies of work. One was in the enterprise data governance space, another one, a small business that was working with us in a lot of our business process continuous improvement. And because of some shifting requirements at Ginnie Mae, we actually did not start that body of work under that contract when we wanted to start that work. So there ended up being funding left on the contract vehicle, and the contract really in its last stages of the contract life. So I went to my good colleagues in the Office of Procurement, Keith Sherbert, Jimmy Scott, and Damon McClure, and said, because of no fault of the contractor, we would like to continue this body of work via an extension, and we don't need any additional money on the contract because there is unused money on the contract. And we were very, very successful in working with them, getting that work extended. No additional cost to the government because, again, money was left on the contract. And I think we were able to achieve all of our goals. And I think we left probably 99 cents on one contract and $1.23 on another. So I just wanted to share that with you because Ginnie Mae is a government corporation. We have a $1.9 trillion book of business. In fiscal year 16, our revenues were about $3 billion. And I can go on with the numbers, but the thing that's most important and most significant is that we align contractors to do the work that we need them to do. And we value our small business relationships and vendors as much as we value our large vendors. And given the nature of our business, we do have to work with some large corporations. Our pool processing is done by a bank, a financial institution that has to have a backbone network to the New York Federal Reserve. That's how our investors get timely payment of principal and interest. That's how we're able to pay them the fees. So we do have those relationships with our large vendors, with financial institutions, with our mortgage-backed administrator agent. We have those things, and even with our Masters of Services, which is a huge contract that you'll see in your package as well. But what we also have is a number of opportunities as we go forward in 2018 to work with small businesses. And so that's what I'd like to share with you. And I want to start with what the drivers for that body of work is with hopefully many of you. I see many faces I do not know. I'm looking for a small business face I know, and I can't pick one in the crowd. So that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But starting probably in 2013, we launched a formal transformation and modernization program. And since 2013, we've been able to deliver some tremendous innovation and change and automation and workflow, really moving away from what I call the traditional legacy processing within Ginnie Mae, really into a big step into the 21st century. That work must continue. We have had relationships with large vendors, and there have been teaming relationships with small businesses and minority women-owned businesses and disadvantaged businesses, and even Indian tribal businesses. We've had those relationships. As we look to 2018, and I'm not going to flip to your package now because you can hopefully do that at your leisure, there are probably 4 or 5 areas of work I want to call out. But before I do that, let me share kind of what our modernization journey has been thus far. I mentioned that we needed more innovation, and innovation isn't necessarily a new gadget all the time. It is enhancing your current business processes so that it delivers more value to the people that want to do business with us. And we want to ensure that the people that do business with us, that they do it in the most efficient way with us. So we delivered a body of work in the innovation space. Other modernization drivers are just that we do have some traditional manual intensive processes, so we've embedded a lot of workflow, and we're looking to do more of that. In our enterprise architecture space, traditionally, Ginnie Mae has been slow to build its enterprise architecture program. We even hired someone from the mothership here at HUD to launch our enterprise program. And traditionally, if you really look at enterprise architecture, it's been a lot of artifacts, capturing a lot of spreadsheet information, quite frankly and candidly, that the business doesn't even care about. And so if the business doesn't care about it, I'm not so sure I should care that much about it. But I do want to meet the federal mandates for enterprise architecture, and I want to meet the compliance directives. But at the same time, in the enterprise architecture space, I want the enterprise architecture to align with our modernization journey and path. So we have to really put more resources in that area. So very, very interested in people that have the skills and talents in that area. In the DevOps world, which is another area where we have not launched formally into, that is at the top of my list for 2018. And I was at the Bank of New York Mellon yesterday talking with some colleagues, and one of my infrastructure experts there said, well, don't forget security. I want to call it DevSecOps, for Development Security Ops. I said, that works for me, and they helped me deliver on that. So DevOps is really, really an area where we want to put some focus in. We've done nothing but put it on a sheet of paper. So anyone who has expertise in that area, we will welcome that. Another thing at Ginnie Mae is we need to continue to exploit our data and our information as a corporate asset. We have leaned very heavily in the past on our contractors doing a lot of that legwork for us, and we need to do less of that and do more of that ourselves. But we have to make sure that our staff is much more self-sufficient in enterprise data. Data is also at the top of my list. I mentioned one of the small business vendors who helped us with our data policies, whether it was data ownership, data sharing, data certification, helped us with those policies. We built a taxonomy around that, and we're doing some good work, but there's a lot more work to do. So if you have enterprise information expertise, we are very, very interested in engaging with you. On the front row, I have Audrey Story, who leads my program management office. Audrey, would you please stand up and just face the crowd? Audrey has done some tremendous work. Many years ago, we brought our project management office in-house, and we said we need to, thank you, Audrey, we need to build it from the ground up. With Audrey's really her oversight and her direction, we have moved the program to really what I call best in class. I am willing to put it up for anyone to come and measure how we're doing in terms of our maturity model there. We have what we call an operational readiness review process that was defined by the PMO team. Audrey leads that body of work, and we have had many, many, many implementations, and in every implementation, it has to go through operational readiness review, and we have had 100% success in every single implementation. Audrey needs more help, and so there is a procurement that will go out in 2018 for some project management support. So please look for that one as well. I could go on and on and on, but the bottom line is we have an operational plan that has too many lines, too many objectives on it. We have a strategic set of goals, and I do invite you to go to jennymay.gov and read a lot of that information. We have 7 program offices that have a tremendous body of work that's underway, but there is truly only one objective I am trying to meet as Jenny May's CIO, and that's just to ensure that we continue to meet the evolving needs of Jenny May. And so with whether that's our asset management program, our information management program, our cybersecurity program, is just a ton of work. So please, please read what's in the acquisition program information. Feel free to reach out to my area. I don't know if my colleagues from the Procurement Management Division are here. I can't see the table for the barrier there. Is Eva White or McCoy Mitchell here? I know they're on their way. But anyway, they are also resources that are available to you. Our Program Management Division, what we call our PMD group, interfaces directly with OCPO, interfaces directly with GSA as well, and so they are a good conduit for you. So I thank you very much for coming. I look forward to building new alliances and new relationships, and more importantly, I look forward to you helping me deliver on Jenny May's mission work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barbara. I want to personally thank all of our speakers today, Deputy Secretary Patenaude, Keith Serber, the Chief Procurement Officer, Johnson Joy, the Chief Information Officer, Essex Martin, CIO, in our Office of Inspector General, Jean Lee, but when you look him up, you gotta spell it's Jean Lee. And of course, Barbara Cooper-Jones and Ginny May. I know we have a lot of information that we shared with you today. This event will be recorded and will be posted on YouTube. And also our forecast report, we routinely update it. So please check the OSDBU webpage periodically. And one of the themes I also want to share with you all, I know you're all here to build alliances with departmental officials, but also I encourage all of you to take this opportunity to develop trusted partnerships amongst yourselves. For example, if I'm a women-owned small business and I'm looking for a hub zone, that's great. But I would also encourage, seeking out like businesses as well. Just to maximize the opportunities. And also I understand we have large businesses have also registered for this event. They are also seeking partnerships with small businesses.
So our next part of the program is, of course, our business roundtables or matchmaking. And of course, we have Office of Housing, Office of Public and Indian Housing, OCIO, OCPO. We have our Office of Chief Human Capital Officer represented here, Administration, and our Chief Financial Officer. So we have tables and table tents where you can be directed in meeting our program representatives. So thanks for joining us, and I will turn it over to Mashoma.
Okay, I know the part of the program that you're really interested is me coming back up here to talk to you for about 20 or 30 more minutes. But no, at this point, we have concluded the speaking portion, and as Ms. Jean Lean stated, we are now going to be starting the matchmaking. I feel it's going to be like the running of the bulls, but no, please be calm. Everyone is here, excited, at least on the HUD side, to engage with you, but please remember, though, there's a limited amount of time, and for those that are interested in really speaking with OIG, I would advise you to speak with them first, since, as you know, that they'll be leaving early. Okay, so thank you again for coming out, and let's get started with part 2.